All right, so we have Giancarlo Esposito, right? That's the correction. Because, okay, yeah, a lot of people said it differently, so I just want to make this right, man. So, Giancarlo, it's an honor to have you on the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about Far Cry 6, man. I've been playing for a couple days, man. Oh my God, I'm loving the game. Love your character is no joke. Very scary, let me tell you.
Very serious, very scary, very in control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
What?
controlling all the chaos around him.
Yeah. What you could tell for those that doesn't have any idea about Anton Castillo. What you could tell us about his character?
Well, Anton is the penultimate dictator who's faced with some very, very great challenges at this time in his life. He has a revolution happening while he's trying to keep a strong grip on his presidency. He is El Presidente. He does have a vision. And it's the thing that I really love about Anton is that he has a vision for his small island of Yara, and where the capital is Esperanza. It is just brimming with natural resources that he would like to exploit and be able to help his country survive without being taken over by another large country who might exploit them in a different way. He also is a father who is raising a son and grooming him to be his successor. And he has many people around him. You see him go from a man who wanted to claim the presidency when he was young. He had a very difficult childhood, and then he grows into a power-hungry person who is ready to fight the revolutionaries as well as the U.S. government.
Yeah, Diego seems very lost. Like he's very confused. He doesn't know if he wants to stay with you, he wants to leave or not. I mean, how has been like the as a character the relationship with Anton and also Diego?
Well, blood is thicker than water, and we all have a mission, and we have a duty to accomplish what we've been given. And Anton's point of view is, you've been given the silver spoon and given the world. Now it's time to grow up. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's time to learn how to be able to run a country. And so he tries to impress this upon his son, who has great empathy for these revolutionaries and Danny Rojas. He has, he really feels their pain, but they haven't lived the life that he has. And he doesn't know about the early young life of his father, Anton, who was shut out and put in prison in a cell next to his father to watch him die. So all of these painful experiences that Anton had helped to make him stronger and lend to the vision of his country, but also helped him to exploit his people, to extort, to bring up this natural resource out of the ground, which would help the country eventually. So it's a very tricky and complicated story, as Anton is a very complicated human being, but it's a story that we get really interested in when we start to see his relationship with his son, and you see him be a little bit more vulnerable and understanding, but tough love is tough love.
Yeah. And what was it that got your attention to be part of this project? Are you a
I
gamer,
really
or this is like your first time hearing about Far Cry?
it wasn't my first time hearing. I knew that Far Cry was at the top of its game. Pardon the pun. Ubisoft really does really fantastic games that allow kind of new thought form and new technology to really come to light. Because of how they run their company. I mean, I love the company itself because it's family run and because they use artisans from all over the world. But I was interested in the translation, the transition from being a film actor and television actor to learning about the technology of gaming and how that was all put together. I looked at comic books when I was younger, and I think there's a really close correlation between the comic book world and the world of gaming. But the wonderful thing about this game is it puts you in the driver's seat. And that's something that I think people have not experienced before and will get a real kick out of in this game. When you're able to control the outcome and to take in a good story as well, but have the action and the edge and something to think about when it's all over, then you have a great game going.
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you, man, because my parents are from the Caribbean. My family's from Dominican Republic. So playing the game, it reminds me a lot of home. It was really cool to get that experience. Listening to salsa. Riding some horses in the country of Yaras. Have you ever been to Cuba? Because people are gonna say this is Cuba. Have you
Well,
ever been there?
yes, I have been there, and there's a magical presence there.
Hmm.
Not only from the Caribbean air and the sea so close, but the people's attitudes. And I found that when I went to Cuba, it was really sensational in that people made things from nothing because they had nothing, but it didn't affect their attitude and their way of life because they lived in paradise. So of course I thought a bit about Cuba in regard to creating this character and the sights, sounds, and smells that I experienced when I was in Cuba. But I've also looked at some of the other dictators around the world who come from smaller countries as well, to look at their psychology and psyche in regard to their dream and vision for their country. Ceausescu, many different dictators, they don't think that they're doing anything wrong or bad. They're trying to preserve a sense of nationalism and patriotism that comes with a smaller country that wants to be put on the map.
I mean, there's people that are going to have different opinion about you playing character Anton Castillo. People are going to say, hey, look, Giancarlo is not Latino. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I feel like they could say that, and they would be right. I'm part Italian and part African American. I think that blend equals Latino. I mean, look, we're brown skinned people of the world. I do very much respect that people have that sense of they really have that sense of wanting to be protective of nationality. But in our world today, I'm very proud of being half Italian and half African American, and having played so many Latino parts that I really feel close to. And so I'm an actor. That's what I do. And I hope I do it well.
Yeah, no, good job, man. Really good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Giancarlo. So, a couple years back, I had Michael K. Williams on the show. Rest in peace. He was also involved in Battlefield, one of the games he's in, right? And I asked him how was it for him, experience that, being a movie actor and now doing motion capture for gaming, and he loved it. He was like, man, this is like a whole new world to me, man. But I really, really enjoy it. Watching your video, behind the scenes video, it seems like you really enjoyed working on this project, man, a lot with other people at Ubisoft. And how was that experience for you, man, as a movie actor and now getting into gaming and doing motion capture and all that stuff? Like, how was that experience for you, man?
Yeah, I love Michael, and he was a performer who was in wonder and always in awe of what he's doing. And for me to play this game, and God rest his soul, I wish he was still with us to experience some more, but I guess it was his time. The great thing about learning something new is that you're vulnerable and you're open and you're in wonder, and you're wanting to know how this works and how can I make it better using the skill that I have in another venue. And for me, I've worked in television, theater, and film, and the closest correlation for me with this particular game and how you work in a game is to be playing in a sandbox. It's a very large sandbox when you're in the volume, and using all of your senses to be the mirror for the audience to show them what's happening, because you're just a part of what's going to happen in creating the game. What I love painting, I love artwork, and I love music and dance, but art to me is the closest reflection of what we have to do. It is recording all of the elements that are my essence, and then taking that and sharing that with artisans who will then create the picture that will be a moving picture for all of our audience. So to me, this is the new wave is gaming, because you can be so involved and have the satisfaction of being a part of the story. In this first shooter game, Far Cry 6, I think it's in a way off the chain. You played it, so tell me, how did you experience having the ability to affect the story?
I think it's awesome. I felt like, look, I played every Far Cry game before, right? And maybe it's because also it relates to me a lot with being in the Caribbean. But I really enjoy the story, man. And at the same time, I'm like, man, I got to be careful about Anton, man. Anton is no joke. Like the whole time, I just love the way, also the relationship between him and Diego. I think this is really, really cool, man. Really cool.
I'm about to play the game with all of you, our audience, who are going to experience it October 7th, because I haven't played. You have an advantage on me. I am anxious to learn that part of it. How can I, overthrow Anton myself? It would be fun to experience for me.
Yeah, who you could compare to, like from past characters that you played before with Anton? Is there anyone close to that character?
I wish I could say there was. This is new for me. I had to
Mm-hmm.
constantly think about how to be, on one hand, this ruthless dictator who's, when you have a team of people, generals, army people, people who could be spies, all these things, you become very paranoid and you try to figure out how to get people to do your bidding in a certain way. Then you have a son who's asking you very important questions that comes out of his naivete, but they're questions that make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to start to think, how do I explain this to him? How do I explain my position? How do I explain all of my history? And help him to understand that he was born for this, that this is his moment in time, not to be powerful, but to be confident and be sensitive to the nature of what he has to do. He has no clue, as you said. Anton has a big job to do. But that was the one thing that allowed me interest in this more than anything else. See, for me, playing a full character who's complete, who is not just black and white or good and evil, he possesses that gray area that I had to make his reasoning strong. He loves his people, but the people who are out there, down there, shooting, rioting, wanting to take over, those people have to be, they have to be controlled.
Yeah. What was like the most difficult part on working this project? Was it learning about being a dictator? Was it the capture emotion process? Was there anything that was like, okay, this is challenging, but let's go for it?
It was the motion capture. All right, so think of it, man. You got those headphones on. Think of having a bar in front of your face like an old football helmet with a helmet on, with a light directly in your face and cameras between the bar, which is here, and your face, taking all of your facial recognition. And you're trying to talk to me at the same time. So that was the greatest challenge for me, was to have to be able to communicate beyond the technology that was recording me. And that once I was able to focus in the right place, find you amidst all the stuff that was in between us, then I could act like it was a theater play, because that's what you're doing in a way. You can go back and do a lot of pickups, but they're long scenes. And to create emotion and really see that what I'm saying to you is landing, look into your eyes, really feel your energy. That was the hardest thing. After the first day and a half, I went, forget about all of this. Be composed, control the chaos. And I had to get back my comportment, my grace. I really believe that Anton is a Renaissance man, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks. He's very refined, listens to music, eats well, and then really thinks about how to advance his mission, which spirals out of control eventually. But as I said before, he thinks this is for the good of his people, and he believes that. Otherwise, we'll be taken over by a larger company, America, Russia, China, larger country, and the people will have nothing. And so, yes, it's the trade-off between how evil can you or do you want to be to get to your goal, to achieve the kind of nationalism and patriotism and autonomy that you want to achieve.
Yeah, it was cool. Just experience playing this for the first time as a gamer, right? But now, for you, seeing the results for the first time, how was that for you, man? It's like, oh my god, okay, Ubisoft did a pretty good job creating this character, man. How was it for you?
Anton has to go through different physical growth, I should say, or in the game. And so what I loved the most was the first time I looked at it, I sent it to my partner, Josh Kesselman, my business partner, who went, "That's you. This is film. This is amazing." And I went, "No, it's not film." He says, "No, that's you." It looks so absolutely real. What shocked me and surprised me was the truly delicate way in which they could age me, take away age, lengthen me, make me a little longer. You're in that suit. I'm in that suit. That suit is so tight. And I'm like, oh, every piece of fat's gonna show. You have to forget all that. As an actor, that's my job. Be here now. Be happy with what I look like. But the biggest thing was the costume was so fantastic. And there were artisans who spent, I don't know, a year, 6 months just drawing and fabric and painting and doing all these things to the scabbard of my knife, which the knife is very important in this particular piece. So I was shocked that I look so good and could be manipulated in such a very refined way.
Yeah, and so serious. Really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
very cool.
I know you mentioned that you went to Cuba. Was there anything that you didn't know about Cuba that when you went there for the first time, like, okay, this is pretty cool? Was it the food? Was it the music? The
It was
culture?
all of that. I mean, I was out walking one day and in Havana, and I was on the way back to the hotel, and there was the major thing that got me were there were crumbling businesses and buildings. But on the first floor of one place, as I walked around a corner through an alley and then back on a major street to go to the hotel, there was a pop-up restaurant on the very first floor. And it looked like just people were, had some lawn chairs outside, and there was a little bar inside, and they made one meal for everyone. And the music was playing, and the energy here was absolutely magnificent. What really shocked and surprised me with the people after a certain hour, whether they went to work and came home, they dressed so beautifully. The women in Caribbean dresses, the men who were really had white shirts and jackets, all to just go have a drink and have dinner. I hung out at this place for 2 hours. They were making one meal for everyone. That was it. And they served food. It was the energy. It was that the people found a way to interact and connect and were genuinely happy, no matter what was going on politically or otherwise within their country.
Yeah, really, really cool. Well, Giancarlo, I have two more questions. So one is, why should people play this game, Far Cry 6?
Well, because it's entertaining, number one. It also gives them the sense of the world that we live in today. But mainly, it allows them to be in control of the outcome of a story that could go either way. It allows them to see a story that, of course, is politically entwined in regard to how we are ruled and rule our countries, which many people in many large cities and not large nations have no idea of the family essence of what it takes to be Anton Castillo. And that you are able to have both sides of the conversation in one game and have a blast. I mean, it really is a manipulation of a new technology that will grow, and Ubisoft will have this. It will grow to other. It will be reflected in other games that they make that allow you to be more in control. And I think that's brilliant because people want to be entertained. They want to be active. You go to a movie, it's great. The new Bond movie's going to come out. You're going to go sit there and watch. Go, fantastic. But when do you have the ability to interact in a way that allows you to be the hero or the villain?
Yeah. My last question, and this is a fun question, by the way. So I've read interviews that you would love to be part of the MCU. If you had an opportunity to be a MCU character, which would it be? Just for
my
fun.
gosh.
Just for
so
fun.
much talk on the internet. I like the idea of Dr. Freeze. That could be something.
Yeah.
I love the guys over at Marvel, and I want to find something to do with them that's really exciting, new, and different. And so there's been a lot of speculation, but nothing is set yet. Who do you want me to be, Danny? Who do you think?
I think that's the perfect choice. What you just said. And that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because look, man, you did a pretty good job. Not only Far Cry, but man, Mandalorian. Awesome, really good, awesome. Hey, we'll see you in the future, man. But Giancarlo, I just want to say, it's been an experience. I'm a huge fan. It's an honor to have you here, man. And good luck with any future projects in the future, man. Can't wait.
So
Can't
nice
wait for
to
seeing more.
talk to you. I hope we get a chance to go around again.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, Danny.
All right.